I've been match betting for the last few years and I've made a huge amount of money from the bookmakers here in the UK. Now, if you're a match better, you'll know that the pinnacle of the year from a money you can make perspective comes at these two events. I'm going to be talking to you about this event right here, Cheltenham, and how you can earn thousands of pounds of risk-free cash over the course of the 4-day festival. Okay, so like I just said, in this video I'm going to be talking about how you can maximise your profits from this year's Cheltenham Festival. Now, we're going to go through quite a lot within this video. I'm going to go through some of the more basic stuff to start off with, and as we get into the video a little bit more, I'll go through the more advanced offers and things you can do to really maximise your profits and take them to the next level. Now, as I just sort of touched on there, I think people very often overlook quite a lot of the basic stuff when they're match betting. I think there's this kind of like misconception that there's these like secret advanced strategies that a lot of advanced match bettors and expert match bettors, if you will, are using to maximise their profits. Now, that is true to a certain degree, but I do feel like quite a lot of the time just the basic stuff can make you a good few £100 a day, and if you do that each of the 4 days at Cheltenham, you're going to be quids in, you're going to be making a decent bit of cash over the course of the 4 days that Cheltenham is on for. So the basic stuff we're going to start off with, like I just touched on, and we're going to start off with free bets. Now, you might be saying to yourself, free bets, you know, I can do them all the time and I can make a few quid here and there. They're boring, they're not exciting, it's super simple, easy, step A, step B, step C. I'm not going to make any profit from that. And you're right, it is match betting 101 and there isn't anything to it, it's pretty basic, simple stuff. But at Cheltenham, there are more free bets, there's much more options for free bets, and a lot of the time those free bets have a larger value, and as you can extract 80% of that free bet into a guaranteed profit, you know, if you do that over the course of each of the days, you're going to be making some good cash just from the basic stuff. So what you'll do, day of Cheltenham, you'll have your OddsMonkey loaded up. If you don't have OddsMonkey yet, check it out for free. I've got a free trial link in the description of this video. It's a fantastic product that these guys offer. There's loads of different tools that they provide you with, and it's worth the weight in gold in my opinion. I've used them throughout my match betting career and I've made a lot of money from match betting, so I do recommend them. I do think they are the best provider out there for match betting, and if you want to try it out and you want to use my link, free trial link, the link to do that is down below in the description. So day of Cheltenham, you've got OddsMonkey loaded up. First thing I recommend you do is take advantage of all the free bet offers that are available. So if you click on this drop down up here, top right hand corner, click on Sports Reload Offers, and then that is going to bring up a load of free bet offers that you can take advantage of. You can see at the top here it tells you you have 65 offers worth over £49 throughout the next 7 days. Now, obviously that's not a substantial amount of money, but at Cheltenham you might be getting, you know, £100 worth of free bets, or up to £100 worth of free bets that you can lock in profit over the course of each and every day. And if you can lock in, let's say, £100 a day just from free bets at Cheltenham, you know, that's £400 total across the 4 days, and that's from basic match betting 101 easy stuff. So you can see this one would lock in a £5 profit, £4 profit, £4 profit, £3.75, £3.33, and so on as it goes down the list. What you can do, I do recommend you do this, is come over to the filter options over here on the left hand side, click on profit, select guaranteed, and then refresh the filter, apply new filter, and that will just list all the guaranteed free bet offers that you can take advantage of. There are also other types of free bet offers you can use, which are kind of like not a guaranteed free bet, but very much worth looking into. But the easiest ones to start with are the guaranteed free bet offers, which you can just blast through really easy, and you can nick a few quid each time you do it. They take a few minutes, back something with a bookmaker, lay it on the exchange, find a tight match using the odds matcher, which is a tool again that these guys provide. Repeat the process with a free bet, as using the free money with a bookmaker. It allows you to lock in a guaranteed profit. You know, I'm not going to bore you with it, it's basic stuff, but people do forget it at big festivals and sort of look in the wrong direction to these advanced strategies where they think all the money lies, which obviously it does, but there's a lot of profits you can make here which can cover your qualifying losses, and it can give you some change in your back pocket as well. So don't disregard this stuff. To look at how to do an offer, using this format of OddsMonkey, you just click on the view offer section there and it comes down here at the bottom, and then you come down here to the bottom, and it tells you the strategy in which you need to do to complete the offer. Pretty basic stuff. It tells you the value at the top, £5 of profit, the difficulty level that you need, that is required rather, to do the offer, which is easy, and the type of offer which you'll need to use, the calculator and stuff. Risk-free bet. So free bets, you could be making £50 to £100 a day from free bets at this festival, just from rinsing and repeating that same basic process. So don't disregard it. I know it's tempting to just go right in at the deep end and look at more advanced stuff, but the free bets, when you get time, maybe at the start of the day, maybe mixed in with your extra places and your each way Dutching or whatever you're going to do, it's worth doing it because it will help reduce your qualifying losses, which we'll dive into in a little bit. And again, you will make profit from it because it's just free money and easy money to take advantage of. So if we flick back to the home page of OddsMonkey, the next basic thing, if we come down this right hand side of the page here, click on Racing Matcher. There's nothing in the Racing Matcher at the moment because of the time that I'm recording this video at. There's a lot of good offers you can choose in this filter section, which you can take advantage of. Probably the best one I would say is this one, which is loaded up here. The £50 risk-free bet if you back a winner at 5.0 or more. Now I'm not going to go through this in this video because we'd be here for a long period of time if I did that. But I do actually have a video on my channel which explains this offer in much more detail, so you know how to use it at the Cheltenham Festival, and you can actually combine the offer when you're doing your extra places as well. Which is good because obviously you can combine liability on the exchange and all that kind of stuff, which is very beneficial. So do check out that video when you get a chance on my channel. 4-to-1, 5.0 offer with Bet365, and it does go through it in much more detail. So that's a good offer to take advantage of. And then you've got some other offers in here, like the £10 free bet if second, £10 free bet if second to the starting price favourite, and it's basic stuff. This here will load up a calculator on this page. When there's actually racing on, there's no racing on at the time of recording, and you can just find the tightest matches and back and lay, take a small qualifying loss between the back price and the lay price, and of course if the trigger outcome hits, which in this case would be a winner at 5.0 or more, then you unlock the bonus. So yeah, Racing Matcher, probably second to free bets, but there's still a decent chunk of value that can be taken out of that. A lot of people do kind of forget about it when there's all these other crazy things going on at the same time. The third and final basic thing that I do want to talk to you about is Urbin. Now I can hear what you're saying. Urbin's like the danger word. Never, never, never take a back price which is higher than the exchange's lay price. That back price being with the bookmaker, because the bookmaker's got a mispricing. They've got the back odds too high. They're clearly giving away value, and all the little bots and things will pick up that you're betting at value with the bookmaker. And of course, it's very, very bad for the health of that particular bookmaker account. I agree with all that. Don't herb with your bookmaker accounts unless, they're on the last legs, they've been state restricted, they're good from free bets, all that kind of stuff. You want to refrain from herbing for as long as you can. But what I'm talking about is legal herbs, I like to call them. The real name for them is price boosts or odds boosts or whatever you want to call them. But at Cheltenham, there's a lot of value from price boosts because they typically increase the max stake that you're allowed to bet, they being the bookmakers. But basically, if you don't know what a price boost is, I've got a video on that as well. Check that out on my channel. It's another good watch. Obviously, I don't have time to go through it step by step in this video because we'll be here for a long time. But check that out on my channel, and that will go through in detail what you have to do to make a profit from a price boost. In a nutshell, the bookmaker boosts their price on a particular outcome. So let's say horse A to win the race is priced at 3.75 with the bookmaker. The exchange price is 3.9. The bookmaker might temporarily boost their back price on horse A to win the race from 3.75 up to odds of 4. The exchange lay price stays the same at 3.9. If you back higher than your lay, 4 with a bookmaker, lay at 3.9 with the betting exchange, you lock in a profit between where you backed and where you laid. Simple concept, and it's not the same style of danger you're taking on with traditional herbing. The bookmaker is purposely boosting their odds as a promotion to get more people to bet into that market or that whatever it is. They want more people to bet on that particular outcome. For whatever reason, it might not be obvious why they want that to happen, but we can take advantage of it, and we can do that with a lot less risk on our accounts, and a heck of a lot less risk at big meetings like Cheltenham, Royal Ascot and a few other high profile meetings throughout the year. The caveat to it, and the catch to it if you will, is bookmakers typically allow only a certain amount of money to be placed on the price boosts and on their odds boosts. So typically a lot of the time it's like £20, quite a lot of the time it's £5 or £10. But you know, there's a limit to how much you can bet. If there weren't a limit, people would really abuse these price boosts, and you'd be only limited by the money that was available at the price you were laying on the exchange. The bookmakers don't want to get caught with their pants down and don't want to be overly exposed with someone coming in backing that outcome for 500 quid or something. So there is always going to be a limit, a max stake that you can use on the boosted outcome. But at Cheltenham, it's typically, you know, sky high. And a few years ago, I remember this pretty well, Betfred were allowing people to bet up to £100 on pretty much all their price boosts. And it was locking in your 6, 7, 8 quid on each boost. And it was great to take advantage of, along with combining the liability on the race with extra places and stuff like that, which I'll dive into in a little bit. So if you want to find price boosts, the easiest way to do it, again, OddsMonkey homepage, click on visit the community along this right hand pane. And once you do that, it'll bring up the community page. Come to this little search box in the top right hand corner of the community page. Type in price boosts chat, and once you type price boost chat, it'll bring up two threads. One of them called price boost no chat, and the other one called price boost chat. And I recommend just using the price boost no chat thread, because all that is going to be containing is price boosts. If you're using the price boost chat thread, that allows people to come into that thread and ask questions about how to do price boosts, what outcome to lay on the exchange if they're a little bit confused or they're new to match betting or whatever. And it's basically a beginner friendly thread to doing price boosts. You'll have loads of people helping you within that particular thread. But once you gain a little bit of experience, price boost no chat is the best thread to do, because it's literally just boosts that people add to this thread where the back price with the bookmaker is higher than the lay price with the exchange as a result of the bookmakers price boost that they're offering out. So a quick example is Sky Bet here, 5, 4.9, 5 being the bookmakers price, 4.9 the exchange. You can see here 8 bookmakers price, 7.8 exchange price, 2.2 back price, 2.1 exchange price at Matchbook, lay price, 6.0 here, 5.8 here on Smirk, on the exchange. So you can see all the common denominator is that the back odds are higher than the lay odds because of the price boost. Obviously you've got football mixed in here on this example that I'm showing you. You know, you've got Núñez first goal scorer, Liverpool to be winning at half time, Salah anytime goal scorer, stuff like that. But obviously at Cheltenham, all that is going to be heavily driven towards horse racing boosts and horse A to win the race, or horse A and B to both win and stuff like that. And obviously if you're backing higher than you're laying, you can lock in a profit, and because there's a larger max stake on offer that you're allowed to use rather on the price boost with the bookmaker under most circumstances, very much worth doing. But yeah, anyway, that's the basic stuff. But the more advanced stuff now is where you will make the serious amount of profit if you want to do that. It's fine if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to take on that added amount of stress and you just want to lock in, you know, 200 to probably 400 pounds over the course of the 4 days just from those basic things. Just do those basic things. Maybe you've got a smaller bankroll, maybe you're at work a lot of the time, maybe you just don't want to take on that added amount of stress. Not that it is stressful, but you know what I'm saying. Just do that. But if you do want to make the larger profits and you want to make up to £1,000 on each of the 4 days, this is the kind of stuff you want to be looking at. First thing I want to show you, if we click on the extra place matcher on the right hand side of this page here, this brings up the extra place matcher. Now, the extra place strategy, I've talked about this in various other videos, is a very good strategy when you're match betting. Now, like I said, I've got other videos explaining how to do this, so we're not going to go through it in any real detail. Ultimately, you back the winning each way with the bookmaker, you lay the win on the exchange, and then you lay the place on the exchange. But as the bookmaker is offering out more places or extra places, whether that be 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever, and the exchange place market offers the standard amount of places for that amount of runners within the race, and that's where the advantage comes from. And if your horse lands within one of those extra places which isn't covered by the standard place market on the betting exchange, you lock in a profit, and in this example on the top it would be that. And of course, if the runner doesn't land in that position, or those extra place positions, if there are a few of them, you take a qualifying loss, which in this instance will be that. Now obviously that doesn't look like very enticing value in this instance, and you can see it probably isn't. It's a 75.88% match. But the great thing is, at Cheltenham, all the bookmakers are competing with each other. So Bet365 is competing with Sky Bet, and they're competing with Ladbrokes. Ladbrokes are competing with William Hill, and they're all trying to offer out the most enticing price they can to their customers. And as a result, you'll get much higher ratings than this at the Cheltenham Festival. So you can see here we have a 75% rating. If that rating becomes 100%, the qualifying loss will be absolutely nothing, and the profit will obviously be much, much higher. So let's just boost the price here, show you an example of this. There you go, you can see we've got a 94.9% match. The qualifying loss is now shrunk to £1 and 2p, and the extra place profit has increased to £16.78. Now, ideally you want to be going for the highest matches you can. All the other stuff is just a derivative of the rating. If the rating's high, the implied odds are going to be high, and if the implied odds are going to be high, the qualifying loss is going to be low. Now there's loads of crazy things people do, like adding all the implied odds together and dividing it by the runners and all these crazy things. The best way to do it from a mathematical standpoint obviously would be to model it and collect loads of data to determine what match is the highest possible match that you should be taking, or lowest possible match you should be taking rather, which I've done, which is available on my Patreon page. I've got a full explainer course and walkthrough series. It's called the Place Market Master Series, which explains this strategy in loads of detail and everything I know about the strategy and all the data that I've collected with the strategy. And if you do want to check that out, the link is in the description. But ultimately, you just find that they're all kind of derivatives of each other. But yeah, that's how it works. You typically get lots of high ratings at these festivals, and then you want to be putting as much money through those high ratings and those high matches, because they're going to be value, as you possibly can, or as you're willing to do. And if your horse lands in the extra place, or one of the extra places, if there's more than one, you'll profit. So let's say, well, put this down a little bit. An example here of a 96.83% match. Let's say we use a £100 stake there. You can see we'd be gambling £6.35 on the qualifying loss for £171.65 if that horse landed in the extra place position. So yeah, now you might be thinking to yourself, well, how about if I just get on 2 runners in this race? So you can see in this example we've got a 70% match, which is obviously nowhere near high enough, so we just change this to, let's have a look at this, 10.5, and we'll say this one 3.1. We change that to a 92% match, we get £100 on that match there. You can see the qualifying loss is a little bit higher because the rating isn't quite as high as in the first example, but we have a larger profit on offer, £256, if the horse lands in the extra place. The profit's higher because the back price is higher with a bookmaker. You can see it's 9 to 1 or 10 with a bookmaker there, and it's only just shy of 4 to 1 or 5 with a bookmaker there. Again, if you want to learn about all that in much more detail and how all that works, you know, the profits are larger in different circumstances, which runners to target, link in the description to my Patreon page. There's loads of other perks on there as well, which I'll discuss in a little bit more detail in a bit. Very much worth it in my opinion. I'm a little bit biased, of course, but yeah, it will give you a full walkthrough of this strategy. So ultimately you can get on as many runners as you want doing this targeting the extra place strategy, and you can actually get on every single runner in the race. Now obviously the ratings all need to be pretty high for you to be able to do this. You know, they all need to be at least 90%. You might get 1 or 2 which aren't that high, but for the most part all the ratings need to be really high. And in theory, and I say in theory, in reality, in practice you can do this, because I've done this before, and it does present a really nice profit if you back every runner winning each way with a bookmaker, lay every runner on the win on the exchange and lay every runner on the place on the exchange. If you can do that with high enough matches, which I do need to stress, the matches do need to be high enough, that's obviously going to be beneficial to you. The one thing you need to know when you're doing that strategy is that it's important that the overall accumulative qualifying loss from doing that is smaller than the smallest potential extra place profit that you can lock in. So let's say every single runner in this race has been covered, and that's cost you £100 in qualifying losses. So backing the winning each way, laying the win and laying the place on every single runner throughout the entire race has cost you £100 in qualifying losses. So that's all these rows here added up to a minus £100. If the smallest potential extra place profit you can get from one of your runners landing in an extra place is £100, that's obviously a very good position, because you've put £100 into this, you've invested £100, and in the worst case scenario you're going to get that £100 back, and it's going to be break even, it's risk free, and that's a very good position to get yourself into. Now of course, if the smallest potential extra place profit that you can win is only £60 and you've put £100 in, there is a chance, and you are risking £40 of your own money, if that runner that you don't want to land in the extra place does land within the extra place. So yeah, bear that in mind. That is very much possible. The ratings do have to be high, which in turn will give you small qualifying losses, which will allow you to back every runner winning each way, lay the win and lay the place, and it will put you in a very profitable position. I've got a video on this which will explain this in much more detail, step by step in a walkthrough type fashion, and I've made lots of big profits in the past using this strategy. Very good strategy, targeting the extra place across every single runner, and it does work under the right circumstances. So the final strategy that I want to talk to you about in this video is each way Dutching. Now each way Dutching is absolutely massive, and it has an enormously large advantage if you find the right races to do this on. I've actually had instances throughout 2022 and before that where I've had about an 8% edge with no downside on a race. And can you imagine putting a few £1,000s for an 8% edge where you've got no risk and you're not going to lose any money in the worst case scenario? That's absolutely phenomenal value. It's by far, in my opinion, this is the best match betting strategy that's out there. It's advanced, of course. It's more advanced than the extra place, taking the extra place stuff and the two-up offer. It is more advanced than that stuff, but it has, without a shadow of a doubt, the biggest edge, which you can take advantage of right there and right then. The value is, it's completely obvious. So to do this strategy, you want to load up the spreadsheets that are on OddsMonkey. So to do that, you click on Tools, Spreadsheets, and you can see it loads up a load of spreadsheets on here. Click the drop down, click on Dutching, apply new filter, and that's going to bring up each of the spreadsheets that are available. A lot of people actually like this Dutching 4 extra places and Dutching 5 extra places sheet. The best one to download, in my opinion, is this Susie Beth each way Dutching extra places sheet. So if you click download file there, that'll download it for you. Open it out in Excel, click enable editing, and you can see that brings up this spreadsheet right here. Now, the way in which it works, you pop all your runners into the sheet here who are participating in the race, all of their win prices, the amount of places that the bookmaker is paying out on. So if it's 6 places total, including 2 extra places, so 4 places standard, 2 extra places, making it 6 places total. You'd pop in 6, you'd pull that down to the bottom, and you'd select the fractional terms in which the bookmaker was paying out on for those places. So let's say it's a fifth, you'd select a fifth. Oops. Pull that down, and you can see in the top left hand corner this displays to you whether or not the race is going to be profitable or whether or not it's not, and you're going to take on too much risk. And you can see in this example, betting or outlaying £1,367.50, your minimum downside and the worst case scenario you could have would be a loss of £60.75, and the maximum upside would be £393.50. And then you can go through the race, back in each runner, win in each way with a bookmaker, and then selecting yes, same for the next runner, and same for the next runner. And the kicker with this strategy is there is no use of the betting exchange. You do not use the betting exchange to lay off any of your bets. You simply back in winning each way across every runner with the bookmaker or various bookmakers or various bookmaker accounts, and that is it. There's no using the betting exchange, you're just simply Dutching the race with the bookmaker. Now, the way in which it works is obviously you have to Dutch 2 bucks, and Dutching is just another way of saying backing every runner in the race for a targeted profit. You're Dutching 2 bucks, you're Dutching the win buck, so you're backing every runner to win, which is typically in swaying in the side of the bookmaker. There's no edge to doing that, and you'll lose money doing that. But you're also backing every runner to place as well, and there typically is an advantage, and then there is an edge on your side when you're doing that. And if your edge from the place book, backing every runner to place, is outweighing backing every runner to win, you'll make the profit. And of course that sounds a little bit confusing, and you will need something to work out the correct stakes to make this profitable. This is a good example I've got here. Typically it won't be as clean cut as this. So what I recommend you do is you actually download the spreadsheet from my Patreon page. I'll just show you what it is. Go to my Patreon. I recommend you download this sheet from my Patreon page. If we just open this out here, this month's version of it. Give it a second to load up. So my sheet will very quickly tell you whether or not a race is going to be profitable or whether or not it isn't. You pop all the runners' names that are participating in the race in this horse name column here, and the back prices of each of the runners that are in the race as well. You come over here to the right hand side of the sheet, you select either a fifth or a quarter depending on what the bookmaker is paying out on for their place prices, and that will provide you with each stake that you want to use, or you should use rather, to make this Dutch profitable. You can change the unit over here, so if you're using a larger bank you can change that to 500, and you can see that will cost you a £5,000 outlay or £5,062 outlay. Or if you had a more conservative bankroll and you wanted to use a £100 unit, you can see the total stake would just be £1,000. Now, to work out if a race is profitable and whether or not you can back every runner winning each way with the bookmaker or various bookmakers, all you got to do is look at this little section over here where it says places and profitable. Cross-reference the amount of places the bookmaker is paying out on. Let's say they're paying out on 8 places. It's a big race, it's a big field, they're paying out on 8 places. You can look in this profitable section, and if the number is below 100%, which in this case it's 99.75%, that will mean that you can get the race fully profitable and you can make a guaranteed profit regardless of whichever horse wins the race. If you've got an orange box, there might be a small downside, but it's likely that there may still be an advantage and it may still be positive EV in quite a lot of circumstances. And of course, if the box is red and it's negative, don't Dutch those races because you'll be losing out on value. But the great thing is at Cheltenham, loads of these races are going to have a green next to the amount of places that are paid out on. And then once they do, you can just use this unit box here to select the stake that you want to use. Once you've selected that stake that you want to use, you just back each runner winning each way. Using these stakes, put these stakes into each of these boxes here, and the minimum profit and the maximum profit will both be fully profitable. So yeah, those are the best ways I would recommend targeting races at the Cheltenham Festival. Next up, you should check out this video that I've just popped up on screen, and that will give you even more insight into what you need to be doing at the Cheltenham Festival, and it will cover some sneaky hacks you can use, including combining liability and a few other techniques which will allow you to take your profits to the next level. Cheers guys, and I'll see you in the next video.